Welcome back, Schmidt heads, to the week 2 of NFL 2025 season. We had a great week 1. I went 10-16 overall against the spread. I had some picks I regretted, 3 to be exact. But what I didn't regret were any of my money picks. We went 4-0 on the money pick, guys, and that's what really matters. All right, so that's 4-0 to start the year. That's great. I want to keep it going. Week 2. That's why I took a little long to get this video out. I really wanted to make sure I had my picks right. I only got 3 money picks for you guys this week. Just 3, but I feel pretty confident in them. It took me a long time to get that third money pick. I'll let you know what pick that is, but still pretty confident in it. Let's recap last week real quick with the money picks. We had Tampa Bay minus 2.5. They covered. They made us sweat, but they covered. We had Jacksonville minus 3.5. They covered, made it look easy. We had Denver minus 7.5. They had us sweating all game. Just barely covered. If we went with the line movement there, we would have lost that bet. Line moved to minus 8.5 Denver, but we didn't fall for that one, did we? Baltimore plus 1.5. That's another one that made us sweat right at the end. I guess didn't make us sweat, but hey, if we went with the line movement, which was Baltimore minus 1.5, we would have, this would have won another way, but we stuck with the opening line plus 1.5 and covered it by the hook. So they're going to be sweats. No bet's an easy bet. We started 4-0. I'm hoping I can keep it 7-0, but let's get to the week 2 picks. Thursday night tonight. That's why I got to drop this video. Make sure it's all legit. Drop it before the game starts tonight. I never really bet on the Thursday night game, so don't worry. You're never going to miss nothing important if I drop these videos late. We got the Washington Commanders at Green Bay Packers. Packers are minus 3.5. This was tough for me to decide, but I think I'm going with the Green Bay Packers to win and to cover here. They looked really good week 1 against the Lions. Their defense looked really good. They stopped the Lions. I know the Lions have a new offensive coordinator, so I didn't expect their offense to look that good. But Green Bay still shut the Lions down pretty good. Parsons looked good on that after being there for a few days. He already looks like he's one of their top defensive players, so and he's only going to get better. So that looks like a win for Parsons, that trade. It looks like a win for Parsons. He's definitely much happier. And, we'll see what happens there. Sorry. So, I like the Packers also because Jordan Love looked pretty good. He spread the ball around a lot. Their defense already stopped what is a high-power offense. Like I said, they had a new coordinator, but still considered it a high-power offense. And they're going to be going against another one, but I don't think the Redskins' offense is going to be as good as they were last year. Last year was kind of like a shocker for everyone. Now they're still going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be blowing the hats off of anybody this year. Jaden Daniels, I think he got banged up a little bit week 1. I don't think it matters. I think he got banged up a lot last year and he still killed it. But his connection to Scary Terry isn't looking too hot. I know it's only 1 week, but I really like the Deebo Samuel. I thought Deebo Samuel was going to look good on that team, and he does. So I like that, but Washington's definitely going up a tougher defense than they did against the Giants. The Giants, they only put up 21 points. Now, Giants are known for having a tough defense, but I don't think they're going to be top 10 this year. So, just better team overall they're going against. It's going to be a lot different. That's why it was hard for me to pick this week. A lot of teams, it's still hard to figure out where they stand exactly. but I think Green Bay is for real. I think Washington's going to be maybe a 10-win team. I don't see them winning more than 11, but I think they're going to be like a 9 or 10-win team. See, I got anything else before I move on? That's pretty much it. I like how Love spreads the ball around. He doesn't really have a top target, even though they try to get him one every year. He's looking way more comfortable this year. It's only 1 week, but I think he looks a lot more comfortable. And can Washington's D stop Green Bay's run? So all those things, I think Green Bay should cover this spread. It could be close. We could lose by the hook. They should win, but I think Washington also on a short travel week. I try not to look into stuff like that, but it's Green Bay to win and to cover this. Next game, we got Cleveland at Baltimore. Baltimore is minus 11.5. This spread has jumped up and down, but minus 11.5. That's what we got it at. I'm going to go with Baltimore to win, Baltimore to cover. I'm not going to bet this one because we got Flacco returning home. Flacco's 0-1 against his former team, the Ravens. Last time he played him, he was on the Jets, and he passed, I think, 306 yards. So could we get another game like that from Flacco? Always when a player returns home to a home they've lived at for so long, I see that happening. I see that scenario happening. Flacco did look pretty good last week. I think the Ravens should run all over the Browns, beat them by double digits easy, but you never know. When there's storylines and such involved in these games, how close and dramatic they're going to be. So I'm going to stay away from it. Baltimore should win. Baltimore should cover. So that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm locking in. Not putting money on it. I think the Ravens are going to be a little mad. Which, I try not to look into that either. But the way they lost last week, Derrick Henry fumbling the ball. The way he fumbled the ball, he didn't get hit hard or nothing. I think they're going to come out, try keep attacking, have a high-powered offense, put up a lot of points again. The defense, we'll see how they look against a Cleveland offense. Certainly, they looked really good. I like their young running backs. I like the way Flacco utilized the receivers. Their new tight end looked pretty good. But can Flacco play like that consistently still? So there's a lot of questions in this game. But yeah, I think Baltimore should be the easy pick. You never know though. Cleveland put up a fight last week. I'm going Baltimore to win and to cover. Anything else before I leave this game? No, that's pretty much it. Baltimore is definitely going to have a tougher offense. I don't know if Cleveland will be able to get at Flacco, at Jackson the same way they got at Burrow. Their offense is definitely a lot faster. They got more. Does Jackson have the ball? If they can get that run and attack going, it's going to be hard to tell who the ball is going to. Anyway, let's get to the next game. Now, this is a game I made a money pick. This is the last money pick I made. So it took me a while to make this one, but I'm putting my money on it, so it's locked in, and I ain't playing no games no more when it comes to this game. We got Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm putting my money on Cincinnati minus 3.5. Now, when I say I can't believe I'm doing this, it's not because I don't think the Bengals are good. It's because I know they start off super slow. Now, they won last week. They should have lost. What do they have? A missed extra point. The Browns did. 2 field goals I think they might have missed. I don't know. 2 interceptions that weren't Flacco's fault. They were tip drills. So a lot of things just bounced in the Bengals' favor last week. But they didn't look too shaken up about it. They gave the defense their praise. The defense looked really good, which week 1 they answered they could put the team on their backs, I guess the kids would say. And even though the offense of the Bengals didn't look too hot last week, they're not going to be facing the same defensive line. I think Burrow will have more time this week, get to throw the ball. We'll see him, putting up numbers next week against the Jacksonville defense, who they looked impressive week 1. They look good. We know they can beat the bottom tier team. So I still don't know how they look against a good team. Bengals, I think, are a good team, even though their defense, Jaguars, could have a way. But I think Bengals defense is going to try to make a statement since they started off so good week 1. I think they're going to really try and focus on looking good next week against an offense. They should be better than the Browns, but the Browns always play the Bengals tough. So this is a team that doesn't really have the Bengals number, or is known to have their number anyway. I like Lawrence. I like the way their offense looked. The Jaguars. Their young players look good, but they didn't really. Their defense did good, but that was against Bryce Young and a Panthers offense. Trevor Lawrence didn't really throw the ball for too many yards. I think he had like 170-something yards, so he wasn't really slinging it all over the field. He was getting some nice chunk passes. And where was I going with that? That was against... He had a lot of help from his run game. Their running game killed it last week, but that's against the Panthers, who are notorious for being bad against stopping the run. They were the worst last year, and they didn't look any better this year. Jacksonville ran so good they were confident enough to trade away one of their best running backs last year. So they're going to be going this game without Tank Bigsby, just ETN. And I've seen ETN around for a few years. He's not going to consistently pop off and give you big games. So I'm not counting on him to have another great standout game. He could still be pretty productive, but I don't think it's going to be anything special. I just think Cincinnati's offense will be ready to go this week. They should do a lot better than they did last week. Especially the Jags defense. They're not all that great. Burrow needs to throw the ball over 30 times. I think Cincinnati will definitely try to be more aggressive on offense this week to make up for last week. But the good news is they didn't lose last week, so I think they could have fun. It won't be like too much pressure like they have to make up because they won, so they're gonna just do it for the fun of it. I'm putting my money on Cincinnati. I put my money on Cincinnati a lot last year and it worked out for us, so I'm not saying I'm gonna do that this year, but this game, Cincinnati starts off slow. That's the only thing that scares me. They have those slow starts this season. They did start off slow last week. So are they going to continue to do that? That's the only thing I think that's stopping us from hitting this bet. And I'm willing to put my money on that. So next game, we got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is -6.5. I'm going with Dallas to win and to cover this game. I I didn't see a lot from the Giants. Did they even score a touchdown? I don't think they no, they didn't score a touchdown last week, so they still yet to score a touchdown. Russell Wilson magic no longer exists. I'm no longer going to say, "Oh, maybe he could pull something off." That's never going to happen again. If the Giants win or cover with Russell Wilson, it's just because, it happened. Nothing spectacular that Russell Wilson did. So, I don't got too much for this game other than I think Dallas looked really good on Thursday. Was that Thursday? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Thursday night. And, the second half, they didn't do much, neither did the Eagles, but there was that stupid delay. So that could have had something to do with it. I don't know how it could be that effective, but, their offense, I think, is high-powered. Their run game looked pretty good against the Eagles with Williams. They didn't have a lot of yards, but they got 2 touchdowns, and they utilized it. They were able to get first downs off of it. Their pass game is better than last year. They got George Pickens, which I think is a huge upgrade. Des Bryant, they should have done even better, possibly won last week if that dude could catch the ball, but he's still going to be a beast and one of Prescott's top targets. So they still got that connection. I think this offense is going to have their way with the Giants. Defense, I'm confident in this one, but I ain't putting money on it because who knows? It's a division game. Who knows if Dallas is really for real, which I think they should be. They look healthy and they got all their pieces together, but and their defense did look good. They only lost by 4 points. They covered the spread last week against a high-powered Eagles offense, so they were able to shut them down all second half. Delay or no delay, that's impressive. They only got a field goal the whole second half, the Eagles did, so don't count Dallas's defense out this year. That's what I said at the week 1 before it started. I don't think they're going to be as bad as everybody says just because they lost Parsons. Maybe that could be good for them. Maybe it was. We don't know yet. They still did struggle stopping the run, all that, but that was during the first half, and they tightened up in the second half. So I think they're going to be for real this year. And they're going to make a play, perhaps try to make the playoffs. I think they'll be talked about all the way till the end of the year. They're going to have a pretty decent record, I think. Giants should be a team they beat easily. I didn't see nothing good from the Giants. Russell Wilson was their top rusher. Their running backs don't look all too that great. It just looks like they're still trying to find an identity. I don't ever want to go with teams like that this year. So if they still look confused or they don't know who they are or they're just not vibing together, I'm going to try and stay away from that. And the Giants are one of those teams. And Dallas, they look good. They look like they're trying to win. They look like they're for real. I think they can beat the Giants and beat them convincingly at home. That's about it. I think their O-line can stop the D-line, Dallas's, and the Giants' offense is they're just so bad. I think they got a bottom 5 offense. I don't see them, just like last year, I don't see them scoring a lot of points this year. All their touchdowns would have to go to Malik Neighbors. They don't have anyone on offense that's going to be talked about every single week. So they're going to have their games. Every team covers. I picked them to cover last week. That was a mistake. And that was also against a division team. They put up a fight, I guess you could say, right at the end. They kind of let it slip out of their hands. They were in it till the very end. They had a chance until Washington scored that last touchdown. And it was Giants ain't putting up 2 touchdowns. But, so I guess their defense did all right, and that's what I'm saying about week 1 was hard to judge because Giants defense usually plays Jaden Daniels pretty good, and Washington only put up 21 points. So I think Washington, I don't know if that was like, oh, because Giants always play them good, or because their offense has regressed this year. Going back to Washington. Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, we're going Dallas to win and to cover this one. I just think they got it together and they're ready to go. Next game. This is a game I might switch. It depends on the injury report with the Bears. Even though it looks like some of these injuries, I heard Jalen should be playing and Kyle Gordon. I gotta look into that. But if they're playing, I'm gonna be going Chicago to cover. Detroit to win because it looks like Chicago's still capable of blowing games, but I think they're going to be more competitive this year. Not much of a laugh in stock, but after last week I saw they could still have a pretty decent lead and then just give it away at the end of the game. So I didn't like to see that, but I do think they're going to play the Lions hard, and Lions with their new offensive coordinator, I still got to see them have a good offensive game, I guess. Put up more than 24 points to believe that they can. I do believe they can do good on offense. They got a lot of players, but they didn't look that good against Green Bay. And it could be because Green Bay has a great defense, or it could be because this new offensive coordinator just ain't getting it done for the Lions. More questions to be answered. That's why I put my money on a lot of these games. I might switch this, so I don't really got much to say. I'm still tinkering back and forth. I'm pretty heavy on the Bears, so I will say I'm leaning heavy on them, especially if their defense shows up. I think Lions could have another week where they struggle to do much on offense. And we also got their offensive coordinator returning home, so it's kind of like, storylines, dramatic stuff, all that going on for this game. And I think the coordinator gets the best of the Lions because right now, week one, the Lions already look pretty bad without him. So I think this game they might be on the other side of the field looking at how good their coordinator's doing on a different team. Who knows? It should be a good game. I think it'll be close because of that stuff. But ultimately, I think the Bears have a chance to win this, but I think the Lions win. I don't know, but I'm feeling better and better about the Bears covering as the time goes on. So I'm gonna go with the Bears to cover this. Lions still gotta answer some things for me. Is their offense good? Or as good as it was last year? It's definitely gonna be good, but are they gonna consistently be dominant week in and week out? They're home this time, so that might help. We'll see. But yeah, they didn't look that great, and it's only 1 week. That could have just been one bad week, I'm sure they had a bad week last year. So I'm not gonna read too much into that, but I ain't gonna bet my money on any of it either. So next game, we got the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. This is another one I might switch. I'm paying attention to the injury report for the Patriots. If Christian Gonzalez plays, that'll be huge for me. I'll definitely go with the Patriots, but if their defense is injured, I think even though as bad as Miami looks, their chemistry and all that, they could have a good day against the Pats. Geno Smith did, they were slinging the ball. The Pats were able to stop the run, and the Dolphins, they always beat the Pats at home. I think Pats are 0-5 the last 5 games at Miami, and even after that, they're like 1-7, 1-8, something like that. So, but if there's a time when New England's gonna beat Miami in Miami, this is the time when their team just looks completely off. They look completely off all last year. It doesn't look like it got better, and looks like it maybe got worse during the offseason now into week one. Tyreek Hill looked unsatisfied on the sidelines week one. Like, why did I even agree to stay on this team? I had so many offers, probably, who knows. But they just look like they're not friends, They don't look like Waddle's banged up. Everybody's starting to say McDaniels is a joke. I'm starting to believe it. Like, they probably, a couple years ago when their offense was looking really good, it was probably just a little gimmick offense. It happened with the Wildcat. It happened with Chip Kelly's offense. It happened with McDaniels when he first came in with the Dolphins. It looked like they had some new unstoppable system, but then they all just fall back to earth. So I think this might be another one of those scenarios. I don't think we'll see the Dolphins looking dominant again. And even when they did look dominant, I believe it was only at home. I don't think they were doing that week in and week out. They were having really good games like at home. So I'm no longer gonna fear, I guess. After this week, we'll see. I'm going to go Patriots to win and to cover because it's got to happen. This is the time if they're going to win. And they didn't look bad last week. I shouldn't have picked them to cover. That's one of the picks I regret because I had a feeling the Raiders had a better team and they were going to show it. But yeah, hopefully Patriots can get some turnovers on defense, really shut the Miami's offense down like every other team can do. But Miami always gives New England a hard time, especially in Miami. So I'm staying away from this game, but I'm locking in New England. Maybe I'll switch it depending on that injury report. But as of now, I'm leaning New England to win and to cover that matchup. I think Miami just looks too bad. They don't have it together. And I don't ever want to bet or pick a team on a team like that. So one of my strategies is going to be to stay away from those teams. And more likely than not, they're going to lose. But, who knows if I'm ever wrong and they had a hallmark speech during one of the practices and show out this week, So I'm staying away from that. But I'm feeling confident that Miami is crashing and burning. All right, I don't know if New England's going to beat them, but they are going to crash and burn. I feel if I could bet money, well, I guess I could have bet on them having a bad season. Anyway, this video is going on too long. We got a long way to go. San Francisco at New Orleans. San Francisco. New Orleans is plus 4.5. This is a tough one for me because Purdy ain't playing. It sounds like he might not play for a while. Now we're getting Mac Jones back in. Mac Jones keeps popping up. So, I don't know why, but he keeps popping up. All right? So, I think he might play decent enough to cover the spread. This is another game I might switch. This is the last game I might switch. But like I said last week, I think Saints are going to be one of the worst teams. They scored one touchdown. That was on the ground with Kamara, who I don't think is going to be able to carry this team on his back the whole year. He is getting older. And, I still think he's good enough to play, obviously, good enough to start. But he's not putting up production like he did a few years back, He's not going to... They're going to have to go to other players, the receivers. It didn't really look like Rattler had a top target. He spread the ball around, though. I like to see that. He spread the ball around to different guys. So that to me shows he's not just looking for one guy the whole time to save his ass. So I like seeing that from him. Do I think he's a starting quarterback? No, but I do think I like him more this year than I did last year, just based off of week one. Anyway, I'm going to stick with San Fran even if Purdy doesn't play. If you know me from last year, I love to fade Mac Jones. But I think the San Francisco defense is going to be able to stop Rattler, get some turnovers. and be able to save Mac Jones' ass. And I think as long as Mac Jones doesn't turn the ball over, and Shanahan sounded confident in him, sounded like he wasn't too much worse of an option than Purdy, which I kind of agree with. I don't think Purdy was that great to begin with. I think he's overhyped. But anyway, I said that last video. And I think we'll see this when Mac Jones, they put up basically the same type of performances as they usually do, but no Kittle. All that worries me. They still got McCaffrey. They got this new receiver, Pearsall, I believe his name is. Overall, I'm relying on the defense to get us this cover. And yeah, I might switch this game. This is the one game I might truly switch. So pay attention to my short Sunday morning. If I switch any games, you'll see it there. Anyway, don't got much more to say about that. Just San Fran, let's go. Defense. All right. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Jets are plus 6.5. I got the Jets to cover, Bills to win. I liked how the Jets looked last week. I always liked Justin Fields. I liked him when he was on the Bears. I can't believe they went away from him. But looks like the Bears are kind of fixing what they got going on over there. Anyway, Fields, he looked good on the Steelers last year. This was had a revenge game last week. Didn't go too well for him, but he looked really good. Ran the ball. Didn't pass for too many yards, but that's kind of how he always has been. Like, get 170, 180 passing yards, maybe lower 200s, pop off on the rushing yards, and, give teams a hard time, especially when it comes to the running. So Bills faced a similar team. I think the Jets are like a generic Ravens right now. They're pretty good, not as good, but they got the run game. They got the running quarterback, which really gave the Bills trouble last week. I think they gave up over 300 yards, maybe like 280 plus, something crazy. And it looks like Fields is good connecting with the receivers. You got him connecting with Wilson. Wilson might finally have that year everybody's been waiting for him to have, thanks to Fields, But it's still the Jets. So I don't think they're going to be winning a lot of games this year. Fields might win like 6-7 games with the Jets, and I'll feel bad for him like I always do. Like, man, I wish he was on a better team. But the Jets actually look pretty good this year besides their defense. I'm hoping that was a fluke. Their defense hasn't looked that great, though, ever since Salah left. I'm not going to lie. That was against Rodgers, too. Rodgers hasn't looked that great, but it looks like he's returning to form. But he's also back on a good team, Rodgers is. So the Jets, like I said, Jets is just a place where dreams die. And I hope Justin Fields gets another chance after the Jets on actually a good team, or a team not known for choking, yada yada. Anyway, I think they'll keep it close. It's a division matchup. The Bills defense, they didn't look that good, so I think Jets could take advantage of that. But then there's Josh Allen on the other side. Even though I thought their offense wasn't going to look too good, he's able to spread the ball to like 10 different guys, and he can use his legs. Their running game, Cooks, looks better and better each year. He looked good last week. I think he might have a better year this year. Or, be a top 5, top 10 running back again. But I'm going to sticking with the Jets. As good as the Bills look, I think this will be a close game. And the Bills kind of stole one last week, didn't they? They shouldn't have came out with the win on that one. Henry kind of just dropped the ball, gave it to him. So I kind of, as far as this year is concerned, there's some teams out there that have that won in the win column, but haven't like legitimately won in my eyes. Bills are one of those teams. To me, this could be the 0-1 Bills versus the 0-1 Jets. It's not, but yeah, I think this is a close game, and we'll see what happens. I don't really know with the Jets. They could get blown out. I see that happening because apparently the Bills, they can score on offense, and the Jets defense didn't look that good last week. So we'll see what happens this game. I'm going Jets to cover the 6.5. Next game. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when I do my videos late. I'm gonna probably hear some yard work in the background. Anyway, where was we? We did New England, Buffalo. All right, next game. This is a money pick. My second money pick of the week. Sorry, it took so long. We got the Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are -2.5. I got my money on the Steelers to win and cover this game. I really like the way they looked last week. Rodgers he threw 4 touchdowns. Looking really good. He's got his big receiver in Metcalf. That's his type of receiver. He needs a big, bulky, like get off me type of receiver, and that's Metcalf. And then he's got his underneath receivers. I like Pittsburgh's offense. I think they're going to run the ball better this game. Against, Seattle's defense looked pretty good. But, yeah, that was against Purdy. Like I said, I don't think the Niners are going to be that good. I don't think their offense is top tier. And so Seattle stopping them wasn't that impressive to me. And Steelers, I think their defense is going to step it up after they gave up over 30 points last week. That's not like them. Seattle's run got shut down by San Francisco. I think Steelers can shut the run down, even though they didn't do a good job shutting the run down last week. I think they're going to do a good job shutting the run down this week against Seattle because they didn't, Seattle couldn't get it done last week, and they have good runners, but with Sam Darnold, I think it's going to be harder for them. I think it's easier to run the ball when you got Geno Smith at the helm, because he's a running quarterback, and it's hard. Sometimes they could run those plays, and it's hard to stop them, to tell who has the ball in that little split second of making a decision is all the player needs to get ahead. And Walker and Charbonnet aren't going to have that at all this year with Sam Darnold. No one's ever going to think Sam Darnold's going to go out and scramble. And if he does, it won't be more than 2 times in the entire year. So I think Steelers don't struggle stopping their run like they did with the Jets. Justin Fields always gave problems to a bunch of defenses. I've paid attention to him anyway. I don't know why, but I like the guy. Yeah, I don't got much else. Rodgers just looked really good. I don't have faith in Seattle's defense or offense. Rodgers, the only question to me is, can Rodgers keep up that play? I know he's capable of that. I've been watching him all these years. But at the age of 41, 42, can he keep up that play? Or was he just really making sure that he gave it to the Jets after how they did him wrong? You know what I mean? Is that the only game he's going to care about this year? I don't think being on a team or franchise like the Steelers, that's going to be his play. So I'm not worried about that at all. But it is a question that floats in my head. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to win this game and cover the -2.5. They didn't cover for us last week, but I didn't have my money on them this week. This week I got my money on them. I don't think it's likely Seattle can keep up with them. And if they keep the score that close, unless their defense completely shuts down Pittsburgh, that's the only way. But we'll see what happens. I think Rodgers is excited to play on a winning team, and he's going to keep looking good as the season goes on. Money on the Steelers. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Tennessee Titans. Titans are plus 5.5. I got the Rams to win and to cover this game. I see a lot of people on Tennessee. I'm not sure why. They could be excited because Ward actually looked pretty decent last week. Now, I know he had a lot of turnovers, but it looked like once he gets it together, calms down a little bit, shakes off the rookie nervous, whatever, jitters, that, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna be this week. So I think he's going against another tough defense. Cam Ward is against the Rams. They looked good last week. They got at the quarterback a lot. But the Rams only did score 14 points, but against a good Texans defense. So keep that in mind. We got the Titans D. They look pretty good, but that was against the Bo Nix, who I don't think was on top of his game. But Tennessee's defense has looked pretty good in the past 2 years. So I could see them holding the Rams to like 20, 21 points. But can Ward, they had those mistakes in week 1. Can they clean that up in 1 week? I doubt it. He's a rookie. I'm not going to start, betting on him just yet. I need to see him win one, I guess. And that goes for all rookies. So until that happens, and they had their opportunities against Denver last week, but they just, they didn't capitalize on anything. So I think that's the rookie part of Tennessee, and until I see that change, I'm going to go with the Rams. But just because the Rams offense only put up 14 points this week, I wanted to put money on this game, but I'm not going to do it because I think the Rams offense looked good last week. I think they can run on the Titans. Stafford looked good. That back injury doesn't have me worried at all anymore. He already connected with Devontae Adams. That's like he's got his Calvin Johnson back, you know what I mean? His big receiver. I think he needs that guy just like Aaron Rodgers did. And I don't know, Nakua kills it, so I think they're going to have a good offense this year. I don't think that 14 points justifies their offense, and that was against a pretty good Texans defense. So they're going against another pretty good defense, but I think they should cover the spread. It's tough. It's tough, though, for me to put money on this one. I want to, but I'm going to hold off. I think they should cover this spread, though. Next game, we got Carolina Panthers at Arizona Cardinals. This is another game I wanted to put money on, but I'm holding off because Kyler Murray can be inconsistent. But I'm going to pick the Cardinals to cover 6.5 points. Cardinals are minus 6.5. I'm going to pick them to cover that against the Panthers. The Panthers usually put up good fights against the Cardinals, so that's why I'm staying away from this game. I don't think Bryce Young's a starting quarterback. I think eventually he'll get benched again. For who, I don't even know. I don't know who they have on the Panthers, so maybe it won't be this year. But I don't think he's good. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. I think he can make a good play here and there, scramble, get something positive off a broken play now and then, but he's nobody I'll ever bet on. So yeah, the Panthers will cover some games at some points this year, and I'll pick them eventually, but they're going to be one of those teams, I think, that hardly covers the spread, just like last year. And maybe they'll step it up when it's too late, when the pressure is off, because they know their season's over. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win and cover this game. Murray looks like he's getting a better connection with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they'll be able to run all over the Panthers. Their run game looks more beefed up than it ever has been. James Conner is still there, but this Benson guy looks like he's going to be a good complement. And then you got Kyler Murray on top of that. So they got a three-headed dragon in the backfield, what have you. And Panthers suck at stopping the run. So this should be an easy game for the Cardinals. And once the run game gets going, that's when Kyler Murray usually gets going. And I think they should be able to dump on the Panthers, but just because due to history, the Panthers always giving them a hard time, even including last year. That game went into a crazy high score in overtime. I'm going to stay away from this game, but I think at the beginning of the season, when stakes are still kind of high for every single team, nobody's ran away with it yet or has it safe or knows that they're in a bad division. I think Cardinals will stay competitive. They'll remember that stuff from last year, and they'll be able to run the ball and control this game pretty much the whole time. And I'm nervous about a backdoor, so I'm just staying away from this game. But Cardinals to win and to cover the -6.5. Next game. This video is going on longer than last video. I don't know how that's possible, but I did take more time with these notes than I did in the last video, so we'll see how that goes. We got the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. Broncos are the Colts are +2.5. This is a money pick, the third money pick and the last money pick of the week. And the second week in a row, I'm putting my money on the Broncos. I got the Broncos to cover the -2.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. I know the Indianapolis Colts looked really good last week, but that was against the Miami Dolphins. I think they might be the laughing stock of the league this year. A bottom 5 team. I want to say bottom 3, but I won't go that far just yet. Bottom 5 team. They should be the worst in their division, but who knows? New England's got to start winning games. It looks like they should be capable of winning games. And they're getting a better team, have a better quarterback, all that. But anyway, back to the Miami Dolphins. They look like a mess this year. The Miami Dolphins. Gosh, my brain just lagged. Sorry. Back to the Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts. But yeah, Miami Dolphins look like a mess against the Colts. So I'm not sold on the Colts having a great offense. They were able to score on every possession last week, which is impressive, of course. A couple of those possessions were easy due to bad turnovers by Tua. So, and their defense, the Dolphins' defense, is just horrible. So I don't have a good judge on the Colts. I think their offense will be pretty good this year. Like I said, I think Daniel Jones is an upgrade from Richardson, but he's not going to be that good. He's not going to be throwing all over defenses and just scoring every single possession. I think that was a bit of a fluke against a bad team, and their spirits are broken, so I can't exactly be sold on that just yet. And that defense is horrible. Miami, horrible. Bo Nix had 3 turnovers last week, but with a good coach like Sean Payton, I don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row. They'll figure out the bugs and the glitches of week 1. That's what they did last year. More experience this year. It should be quicker that they get returned to form. I don't think Denver's offense is that great. I can't think of a lot of names, but Ingram is banged up a little bit. Their running game is pretty good, I guess, but yeah, they need I guess I'm not too confident in their offense, I would say, but their defense is killer. I think they're going to give Daniel Jones is probably playing the worst defense last week to go into the best defense this week, and they're going to get a wake-up call. The Colts are. I don't think they're going to score on even half their possessions. So, based off Denver defense and me thinking their offense cleans it up. Bo Nix won't turn the ball over 3 times this week. I don't think that'll happen at all. I'm not even worried about it. And because that's another thing to think about. Denver turned the ball over 3 times last week, and they still covered the 7.5. They still won by 8 points. So that defense is for real, and they can still cover high spreads, turning the ball over 3 times. I don't think they should have trouble covering the 2.5 as long as they don't turn the ball over, and that defense continues to eat offenses alive. So I just think Denver will make their adjustments into week 2, and their offense will look a lot better this week. So one last thing to note before I head on to the next game is the Miami Dolphins did not pressure Daniel Jones once, 0 times. So you have to be a really, really, really bad quarterback to not have a great, perfect game with 0 pressures. He's back there all day waiting. He could be as patient as he wanted to be. So I'm going Denver to win and to cover this game. Next game, we got a Super Bowl rematch. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are, I believe, plus 1.5. Let me find them. I'm sorry, you guys. Do I not have them written down on my thing? Holy crap. Alright, yeah. Chiefs are plus 1.5. Sorry about that. This video's already long enough and I'm making little. I'm going with Philadelphia to win and to cover this game. Let's get these videos over with. I don't got no more money picks, so let me just tell you who I'm going to pick so this video doesn't drag on past an hour. I don't think I've had a video this long. But like I said, I really dove in a lot. I think the Chiefs' offense is bad. They proved that to me last week. They proved that to me last year. They still haven't looking like they had it together. Mahomes could still make a thing or two happen with his circus plays, I guess. He had a nice little flip pass I saw. He can still somehow find old man Kelsey wide open. Nobody within 20 yards of him. Don't know how that happens. But I'm not worried about any of that. The Eagles are going to come out prepared. I don't think they like the way the second half of that game ended on Thursday. I think they're happy they got out with a win, but want to prove that they're better than that. And the Chiefs, they're not good. I don't like their players. If they win this, it'll be off sheer, hard-fought, competitive, but not because they're a good team. I don't think they're Super Bowl caliber at all. Their receivers stink. They're all injured, and the ones they have are either old or, Hollywood Brown's all right, but I don't see him doing that every week. Otherwise, we would have seen that already. He's been in the league for a while. So, Philadelphia, their passing game was non-existent last week to the receivers anyway. I think that changes this week. I don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row. Barkley looked good the first half, second half didn't do anything. So I just think the Eagles, they've always been that team to me though, where they'll show up, they'll look like the best team, and then just for 1 or 2 quarters or one game just look like absolute dog shit. But I'm still going to go with the Eagles to win and to cover this. Super Bowl rematches the next year. The Super Bowl winning team is 7-2. That's not really important, but just something to think about. Mahomes never started a season 0-2 before. I think that happens this year. Even Brady started the season 0-2, I think, twice maybe. Maybe twice. At least once. So, yeah. I don't really think that's a stat that's it's never going to happen. It's going to happen.
He's going to start 0-2 one year. This is the year. Tough schedule, Chargers are a good team, and that's a division loss for them. And now they're going against the Super Bowl champions week 2. So, and they're getting, what was that guy's name? I forget. The Hawk Tua guy that they're calling him, I think. They're getting him back, so their defense is going to look better, even though I think their secondary is still a little questionable. But it shouldn't be too much for what I see Mahomes only complete in big plays if he can drag a play out, like a broken play, just stretch it out, run back and forth a little bit, give his receivers time to run somewhere in open field. Other than that, I don't think their secondary should struggle with the Chiefs that much. I think the pass rush can get to Mahomes. They destroyed him in the Super Bowl. So we know that's capable of happening. If the Eagles' offense can get going, I don't see the Chiefs' offense keeping up with that at all. I can see the Chiefs' offense pulling something off if it's like a low-scoring game, like if it's like 23-25, and the Chiefs can pull off a last-second field goal maybe, or if it's like fucking 17-21 and the Chiefs can drive down the field and score a touchdown with like 10 seconds left. But if the Eagles get going on offense, I don't think the Chiefs come close to covering, and that's what I'm going with. Philadelphia Eagles to win and to cover the -1.5. Next game. Finally, we're on to Sunday night. Now, Sunday night and Monday night, I don't really take too many notes for the games because those games are far away, just like most of these Sunday games are. But those even more so, I have more time to tinker. I like to see how Sunday plays out to make a final decision on my Sunday night and Monday games. That's how I usually work. So I'm just going to do a quick thing and tell you which way I am leaning, and then you pay attention to my shorts to see if I switch it. I don't switch too much though. Not too much. Unless I tell you I might switch a pick, those are mainly the picks I'll switch. Anyway, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are -4.5. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to cover this. I'm not sure who's going to win, but I like the way Penix looked on Sunday. I do think he looks like he's going to stay around. He looks like a starting quarterback. He could spread the ball. Their offense looks like it has a really good chance of being legit this year. And I like their receivers. I like their running back. I like Penix. He makes good decisions when to run, when to pass. And Minnesota kind of stole one from the Bears, I feel like. They're another team that got a win that, it's like the other team kind of just gave up, or I don't know what happened with the Bears, but they had the Vikings, and they lost that. So the Vikings, though, McCarthy looked legit. But that was during a Bears collapse, and the Bears looks like they're still capable of collapsing. So I don't know how much I can read into that. Or the Falcons can collapse too, but I haven't seen that of late. And I think they looked really good last week. They had plenty of opportunities to win against the Bucs. I don't see Minnesota. The Bucs is just a crazy gunslinging team, I feel like Minnesota has an easier offense to control if you can stop Jefferson. Then it's just hoping the rest of the other guys don't get too much. They got a lot of players on Minnesota's offense though, but Jefferson's the main one. I just think Falcons might have a top tier offense this year. They might be like a top 10 for sure. Flirting maybe with top 5. Their offense looked really good week 1. I know, I keep saying that, week 1, but I gotta go with the Falcons on this one. Due to if the Bears weren't known for collapsing, maybe I'd lean Minnesota this game, but I don't see it. I think Falcons play competitive all 4 quarters, unlike the Bears, and their offense is better than the Bears, even though Vikings got a pretty good defense. Yeah, I just think Vikings are going against a better team. That's not the best way to put it, but that's a simple way to put it. They are at home. That's the only good thing. But Atlanta's a dome team, so it's not like they're going to be playing in unfamiliar territories. We're going Atlanta to cover the plus 4.5. All right, next game. This video's an hour. It's official, guys. This video's over an hour. I apologize. Now I really got to kill it this week for taking this long. 4-0 last week on the money picks. 4-0. Let's make it 7-0, guys. We got Tampa Bay at Houston on Monday night. Houston's minus 2.5. I see a lot of people on Houston on this game. Not sure why. They hardly put up any points last week against the Rams. Their offense doesn't look too good. They got a lot of injured players. Chubb looked all right. It looks like he'll be able to get some good running production out of him. But it's still, he's not, he's getting old. He ain't no Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was never the best, but he worked really good on Houston last year. All their top players are hurt. Tank Dell. Yeah, so I don't think their offense is going to be a big threat without those guys. Can they move? Can they score points? Sure. I don't think they're going to be a big threat, though. I don't think they're going to be hard to stop, drive in, and drive out. And then you got Tampa Bay, who I'm like, Baker Mayfield's gunslinging it. He's already found his new rookie receiver. They're definitely going to put up numbers this year, it looks like, because Baker Mayfield, he just gunslings it, man. Like, I didn't like this guy at first, but I'm starting to like him as the years go on. He makes it work with no matter who his receivers are. All his receivers could be hurt. I would still bet on him to throw over 150 yards, That's pretty much all I got for that game. Honestly, it's a Monday night game, so I don't want to go too deep into it. There's still a lot to figure out. And I'm just more a believer in Tampa Bay offense right now than Houston offense. Houston's got a good defense. If they're going to cover this game, it's going to be because they shut down Baker Mayfield, which he's been shut down before. So that could happen. That's why I doubt I'm going to put any money on this. Last game, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Finally, we get that Monday night matchup. This is usually week 1. I don't know why. If anybody knows why, let me know. But I'm just going to do this real quick because it's a Monday night game and this video is too long. Not too long for me, but, I know me preferably, I'd rather watch one of these videos at like 30 minutes long tops because, an hour is a long time to ask. So I apologize. But I'm going to go Chargers to cover the minus 3.5 away at Las Vegas. The Raiders looked really good with Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, all that. That was against the Patriots, so they're going to be like a 500 team this year, the Patriots. So it's hard to tell just how good they'll be. I'm sure they'll look like Geno will look like he usually did on the Seahawks, I think, with Pete Carroll, and that's kind of what it looked like to me week 1, Their running game didn't really get going, but New England's supposed to have a really good defense, so but so do the Chargers, and I think the Chargers are going to be for real this year. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they'll have a better record than the Chiefs. There, I said it. Yeah, so I'm going to go the Chargers to win and to cover on Monday night against the Raiders. I got to look more into that. Please pay attention to my shorts. If you stuck around this long, you are a true Schmidt head. Wish me luck. Let's hope we go 7-0 on the money picks. If it wasn't for the Super Bowl, we'd be on a 15-0 money pick run. But we did lose the Super Bowl bet. I didn't have to bet the Super Bowl, but why wouldn't I, right? Because if I'm not putting money on a game, why am I going to watch a game, even if it is the Super Bowl? I feel like it's a waste of time. If there's nothing in it for me, it's a waste of time. But yeah, let's go. 10-16 last week. Let's do better this week. If we do better this week, I'll feel really good about all the time I spent on this video and the hours I spent looking into these games to make sure I made the right pick. It worked out for me last week. Let's hope it works out again this week. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Peace.